When I first moved to New York, I visited days.
When you came here, was there something that you were looking for or something you were trying to achieve?
Fame and fortune. Yeah. Started out now. Started going back to
When I first moved to New York, I visited days.
Some of my earliest memories of Madonna is when she would be in here in the building all the time, always working, always practicing. She'd be roaming the building, singing her tunes, and looking for other musicians to work with.
She was nice, she was cute, she was friendly, you know, she had a nice personality. If you saw her in the elevator, she would talk to you.
I said, so, like, what do you do? And she goes, I'm making a record. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice, you know, and I didn't even believe her.
I remember having bouts of the worst depression, especially when I first came here, where I just thought, God, this city's so big and there's so many people and I don't know anyone. And people would just be rushing by me and shoving me around, and I'll just think, will I ever have any friends? Will I ever, you know what I mean? It's very daunting.
And you'd run away from home, really, in one sense, because your dad didn't know you lived right.
Well, right. I basically came to Manhattan without his permission. I started out with my first band rehearsing in the music building because I was squatting in another building nearby and I got thrown out because they turned off the electricity and the hot water. I had to move into the music building and live there where I was rehearsing.
With your drummer, who you then chucked because you met someone else in the elevator, right?
Well, there were a lot of cute boys in the building, I have to say.
Because I want to get the boyfriend. I'm more interested in the boyfriend.
Of course you would be. So I think we should go in and check it out. Hi. Okay, so this is the freight elevator, which is not actually the elevator I used to ride up in. Sometimes I did, because I started as a drummer, and this is the elevator I used to park my drums in, break down all the equipment, put it in here.
Right.
Right? So, and, wow. I think this is the room. Wait, we gotta check out the number. 604, yeah. Okay. And,
This is your studio?
well, it's not my studio anymore, but it used to be my studio. And, I mean, this could never have been my studio, actually, because I wouldn't have allowed anybody to smoke cigarettes. Exactly, and there's cigarette butts everywhere. And so I just came in here and I started to live and rehearse all in the same room. There were 3 other people in the band, so we split the costs between us, and then we shared the room with another band. So it was actually split 8 ways. So it wasn't that expensive, and we paid for it with gigs. I mean, mostly we played out in Long Island or New Jersey, don't tell anybody. And we played at some really crap clubs on the Upper West Side. If we were lucky, we got a gig at CJD's or Max's Kansas City. It was like post Andy Warhol.
And of course, otherwise, you had your modeling career.
Yes, I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up. Yeah, I did model. Well, when I first moved to New York, I was a dancer, so I did a lot of modeling, nude modeling. Thank you very much. And I mean, it was really good money and very flexible hours, which is why I chose to do it. It's not because I enjoyed taking my clothes off or anything like that. And
liar.
I did it a lot more when I was a dancer, and then when I decided to become a musician, I kind of fell back on it when I had really, when I was really desperate and we weren't getting any gigs.
Right.
I would just,
Do it as a last resort.
shoot on down to the new school and throw off my clothes.
Right.
And, pose for 3 hours and make some good money and then get back here to rehearse.
So is that how the Playboy photographs came about?
The Playboy photographs, oh yes. Actually, no, not from the new school, but what happened is I used to meet a lot of photographers in that school, and then they'd want me to come to their studios and pose for them privately, of course. Just natural. And so I did that, and a couple of times, I'd go to this guy's house on 7th Street his apartment and on the Lower East Side, and we did a few sessions, and well, the rest is history. Now it's looking really neat and tidy right now. When I lived here illegally, it was disgusting. See, look at this hallway right here. See how all the graffiti is and everything? This is how every floor looked. It was actually a little bit more interesting than it is, and I've really cleaned it up. Anyway, here we are in the ladies'
Oh, someone
room.
started out again here. And here we are in the ladies.
Yes, no lock, as you can see. Anyone can peek in through the peephole, not much privacy. So here's the sink. Cold water only. Try not to feel sorry for me. Look, I used to come in here like this, okay?
Hell for shaving anyway, cold water.
Because you can't even turn, you've got to hold the faucet on like that, so you've got to like this. You know what I mean? Like, really embarrassing. Okay, so once we got enough money to have a rehearsal space of our own, we moved into this room.
Right.
Which, oh my God, there's someone in here.
Oh, there's someone rocking.
Should we go in? I hope they don't mind. What if they suck? It's quite cute.
Whoa!
Don't stop! Don't stop! Keep going!
Keep going.
Keep going! I'm just taking a trip down memory lane.
All right. We love you. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, I used to rehearse in here. Did you know that?
This place?
Yeah.
This room?
We're taking a trip down memory lane, and I used to rehearse in this building, and this is one of the rooms I rehearsed in. So we didn't mean to interrupt anything.
It's all right. Thank you.
So good luck, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Now,
We can pretend
when I
this
lived
is...
here, you have to understand something. There wasn't a lot of room to go out. You know, I mean, I had lived in a cubicle, so if I wanted to feel some fresh air and some space around me, I had to come up to the roof.
Right.
There's something very metropolis about this room.
Yeah, there is. You might
It's kind of looking out and the architecture of all the buildings, and this is where my boyfriend used to kiss me. It was very romantic. It was a donut shop which we frequented on a regular basis. And
And how many years were you here for, roughly? On and off?
God. I mean, from the time that I first started rehearsing, then there was a portion of time that I lived here, and then there was a portion of time where I moved out of here
Still
into the
rehearsed.
Star Motel, but I still rehearsed here. I'd say about 4 years,
Right.
4
a
or
long
5
time.
years.
So you must have known everyone. There must have been the weirdest characters.
Yes, there were a lot of freaks in this
But
building.
how could anyone rehearse with a band like that on the
It's
same
like a
floor?
dormitory for freaks, basically.
Is this the first time you've been back here since those days?
Yeah, I haven't been here in years, and
Wow.
the scary thing is that I recognize some of the people here.
That is scary. What does it feel like apart from that? I mean, you're so far away from it all now.
I don't know. I miss this part of my life. I miss the struggling part. Not that I'm not struggling anymore,
Were
but
you happy when you were young? Happier than now? I bet you're happier now than you ever were before.
I'm happier now. But I must say I miss those days of anonymity and free to experiment and do whatever I want. And I used to walk very boldly down the street, and I used to have this thing that I was going to look into everybody's eyes because I was going to be somebody who were going to remember me.
Did you know, though, that you were going to be someone at that point? Were you completely certain?
I knew something was going to happen. I wasn't really sure what shape it was going to take, because when I first came to New York, I was a dancer.
Right.
Then I actually wanted to be an actress, and I started studying acting and going to off-Broadway and then musical kind of auditions and stuff, and I kind of fell into music by accident.
Right.
And then I ended up going down that road, but up until that point, I wasn't sure how
I think that's the
it
best thing about being young, being certain about what you can do, though.
Yeah, yeah.
And you kind of get less certain, don't you think, as you get older? Maybe, no, you probably don't, actually.
Well, the thing is, you don't know what's in store for you. Now that I know what's in store for me, I mean,
Right.
that's being naive really helps.
Yeah.
Being innocent really helps. Doesn't just, Rupert.
Nothing takes
I want to kind of go in chronological order. And as I said, when I met my my manager, she said, "Look, we've got to get you out of this place and, you know,
Into something civilized.
into something more exactly, something decent." So of course she moved me to the Star Motel, which well, you can see for yourself.
I think the first time I went to Madonna's crib, we had to sit on the floor, and I felt sorry for her.
From what I heard, she used to take a bath in the sink because the bathtub was broken. This is true.
Luisa Ciccone, that they call now Madonna, she used to be my son's friend, and they used to go to do exercise, running from 30th Street to 29th Street, running all over.
She would get me up in the morning and say, "Come on, get up, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that." And I always found her amazingly energetic.
And what amazed me is, like, we would hang out, and I was, you know, I was wild in my own way, but she never touched alcohol. She didn't smoke pot, cigarettes, nothing, you know, and she always was hot, like, on a natural high.
I got an apartment on the Upper East Side. Then I lived on the West Side in the 30s on 9th Avenue in a really, really seedy building, and I kept getting mistaken for a hooker. It's a terrible thing,
That
right?
was to happen many times later in Madonna's life.
Well, because I used to come out, you know, I was a dancer then. I used to come out with, like, my tights rolled up to my knees and my leotards, and I don't know, I wasn't wearing very much, but I wasn't trying, in those days, I wasn't trying to be provocative, if you can imagine. And then I ended up here at the Star Motel, which I'm going to show to you, okay?
What made you go up drumming?
I wanted to be in the front. Who wants to be hidden behind all those drums? This was where I moved when I left the music building. Now, it just looks like a regular kind of walk-up apartment, but it used to be the Star Motel, and there used to be a neon sign going down the side of the building. And I lived on the 3rd floor. And come on, you want to go up these steps? So this is where I lived, and the door's locked, so we can't really go up there. But if you can see these 2 doors over here, that's where the landlady left. That's where the landlady lived, and she was very nice. She was Spanish. She had a really cute son, and I remember I used to go down there for coffee sometimes, and they had those velvet paintings on the walls and candles lit everywhere, and lots of saints and crosses and everything. Anyway, so I shared a bathroom with 2 fat Colombians, and then this old Irish drunk who had just been released from an insane asylum. And he would just be wailing all night long. It was quite scary, I have to say. And I used to have to come down and sort of shove bums out of the way to get out my door. And now, I mean, I haven't been back here in years, but they've changed locales, and so the new Star Motel is over there, but I think we should go check it out because I want you to see, like, the decor and kind of get the vibe, and I'm pretty sure it's similar. So let's go. So it used to be a motel, but now it's a hotel. Okay. Hi. Hi, thank you. Oh, thanks. Got it. Well, see, security's not very good around here. Now, this is a lot more modern, and I have to say this is much more modern than it was.
Oh, this is a good one for you. Exactly what part of no don't you understand? Every part.
Wait, how about this?
No overnight visitors. No visitors after
I
6.
stayed in the Star Motel for months, okay? Oh, do I just ring the doorbell? Oh. Oh, okay, thank you. So, hello. Anyway, just like the other one, there's like a bathroom on every floor. So let's go. You want to go to the top floor?
Let's go to the top floor.
Doesn't it smell really bad in here? Oh, God.
I think it's pretty clean, to be honest.
No, there's a real, it's a like cat pee smell. All right. Make sure there's nobody in here, for God's sakes.
There we go.
All right. Oh, let's keep the soft light on.
They've still got your curtains.
Exactly. So this is pretty much the standard decor for the Star Motel. I mean, my room is a little bit bigger than this.
Now, your suitcases are this size nowadays, right?
My closets are bigger than this room. Yeah, I mean, look, cigarette holes in the bed, in the blanket. So, yeah, I lived here for a while, and I had horrible nightmares, and I could never sleep because there was so much noise, and I was so petrified the doors I think were really easy to break into.
Were you lonely?
And in fact, I was robbed once. Was I lonely?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you miss your family at first?
Oh God, yes. I used to. Oh please, I used to cry and cry and cry, and long for familiarity and
there was so
comfort.
many, you must have been in like a madhouse home because there must have been so many kids there.
Yeah, but at least it was clean and it was familiar.
And then just in this little room on your own.
Yeah. It's weird, but I just, basically, I had this thing that I just, you know, once I left, I couldn't go back. I was going to really let myself down.
Mm.
If I went back home, you know, I made that choice and I couldn't go back. And I couldn't ask my father for anything either. That was another
thing you had.
Yeah.
Right. How long did it take you when you were here to like make a huge group of friends?
A huge group of friends? I still don't have a huge group of friends.
I bet you did then.
Well, I'd say once I got a record deal and I moved to the Lower East Side and I started hanging out with that whole downtown art scene.
Right.
I mean, everybody. I mean, I had a huge group of friends, and Danceteria, I met so many friends, Debbie Mazar and Mara Paul, who, you know, went on to make all my jewelry back in the early days, made my boy toy belt buckle, you know, provided me with all the rubber bracelets, which, by the way, everyone was wearing at the time. I mean, everyone's got this thing in their head that, you know, I created this fashion statement, but in reality, I think everyone was dressing the way I was dressing. I just happened to be the one that got famous.
Madonna's greatest vice in those years was she would just drink orange juice nonstop.
Popcorn, some peanuts from there, yogurt.
She used to eat out of garbage cans, she told me. I thought, oh, you're tired.
I just want to know something. Was I nice when I was younger? Did I have good manners?
Yeah, we were talking about that kind of fearlessness you have when you don't really know what the risks are at the beginning, so which is such a plus.
You haven't got a clue, and you just charge forward, and suddenly you're hugely famous, and you've traded so many things away for that fame, and basically that's what the first song on my album's about.
I traded fame for love without a second thought. It all became a silly game. Some things cannot be bought.
But I didn't have any friends when I lived in the Star Motel. So it was very lonely. It was a very lonely time.
So what are we going to do now? We're going to the deli.
Yeah, well, there's a deli downstairs, which they were very kind to me. They kind of, if I didn't have the cash, they'd give me food and then I could pay them, like, say, the end of the week. And that's where I budgeted out my meals every day, basically. I had a choice between salted peanuts and a can of, like a container of yogurt, or I had a large bag of cheese popcorn and cranberry juice. It was very yummy, I have to say.
Well, I suppose like all young people, you ate like once every 2 days anyway.
No, I ate every day. I was quite fond of eating, as you could tell by my Zoftig figure at the time. Don't call me chunky, Rupert.
My earliest memories of meeting Madonna, I was working in a club called Danceteria in about 1982, 83.
Most of the time when I would meet her out at clubs, she was on the dance floor.
We would be like, picking up boys and like, ooh, this one is cute, or this.
Even though she wasn't from the streets in New York, she had this very sort of street energy. And we just had a great time running around together.
We're gonna go to the deli that I used to basically budget myself out to $1 a day. Hello. So, it's kind of a minimalist deli, really.
It's a smelly deli.
Smelly deli. So, okay, so basically what I do is I'd come over here. These, actually, well, prices have gone up, but I'd get a bag of peanuts, which were about 10 cents cheaper back in those days. And then I'd come over here and get some yogurt. But do you guys still have yogurt?
Yeah.
You do? Let's check it out.
Let's check out the yogurt stand. There's the cheese.
Just don't jump the gun. Okay, yeah, so, I got my proteins in. I had peanuts, I had yogurt, and then every other day I would have strictly carbs, and I'd get a gigantic bag of cheese popcorn. But look, I used to get a bag that was 4 times the size for about 60 cents, okay? Inflation, what are you gonna do? Anyway, so things haven't changed much, really. Hi, guys. Do you remember me? No, but do you remember me from when I used to live down the street? Swear you're not just saying that? Okay, who am I? Oh, you know.
No, she doesn't.
I just want to know something. Was I nice when I was younger? Did I have good manners? Okay, good. See? I had good manners.
Yeah, I got a question to you, Madonna. Would you be interested to buy your nude photos? I got your nude photos about 20 years ago when you were 17 years old.
No, thanks.
I mean, maybe they're worth something.
Nude photographs
Yeah,
of me?
yeah. When you were
I can
17.
get them for free.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, before
Before I hit the big time? Yeah.
Are those them?
No. I mean,
I think you should hold on. I mean, listen, if you ever need to make some bucks, you could always sell them.
Well, that's what I was thinking, you know, maybe.
Well, listen, if I want to see me naked, I'll just look in the mirror.
I know that, but I'm saying, you know, maybe.
Can you get that for me, honey? I'm flat broke. All right, so that's like the deli experience. Oh, those were the good old days.
Anyway, let's talk about the new spiritual you. What do you feel about that?
The new spiritual me.
I mean, I don't know about here, but in Europe, they've segued off your last catchphrase title, which was the material girl.
Oh, please, that was like 100 years ago. I'm so sick of being called the material girl.
Well, I know, but now, well, you're not anymore.
But now what?
You're the spiritual finger symbol.
I'm sort of searching for my own spirituality. So, but I think it kind of trivializes what I'm doing to say, you know, the new spiritual Madonna. I mean, what was I up until now, like a heathen, you know? Express yourself, don't repress yourself. I thought that we would swing by the apartment that I had the nude photographs taken that ended up being in Playboy magazine. Okay, see? Right here, number 35. It's actually a nice door, don't you think?
Did you have any contact with him afterwards when they came out?
No.
Did you think about it?
What, writing him a letter?
Screaming at him.
I wanted to rip his face off. But, you know, I didn't know how to reach him, and you know, at the end of the day, the damage was already done. What was I gonna do?
His kneecaps broken or something.
Oh, no. I'm not that Italian. I think we should go down to 4th and B. Once I moved down here, this is when I really started to, like, enjoy myself, you know. Started to have a circle of friends, and, well, things were looking up, and I was about to get a record deal, and...
Everybody, come on, dance and sing. Everybody, get up and do your thing.
I was in a hospital room when I heard one song, Everybody by Madonna, which she co-wrote, and I loved it. She was there to get a deal, and she got one. I mean, she couldn't have cared at that point if I was laying in a coffin, as long as my hand was out and I could, you know, sign.
It's true, I did walk in there with, like, a big boom box in my demo tape, you know, and my big, like, rag tied on my head.
That's my first favourite story, because it's so kind of legendary, that story. And he signed you straight away like that?
Yeah. As soon as he met me and heard my demo, he signed me. We're coming up in my apartment. Okay, so, yeah, it's right over there. You want to get out?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, when I lived here, there was a lot of drugs being sold on the street. So there were kids everywhere that were kind of like lookouts for all the drug dealers. And every time the cops would drive by, they would whistle this certain whistle. And then, you know, everybody would know there was a cop. So, and a couple of the kids that were lookouts were, lived in my building, actually. I befriended them. So they kind of protected me, and they'd walk me down the street and stuff at night. They were really sweet. And basically ruined my love life, because they would also never let my boyfriends get up the stairs without robbing them at knife.
Really?
Yeah, knife point. So this is my building, like 2, 3, 4, 6, yes. Notice the heart shape on the door. And you want to go in? Oh my God, these doors are so heavy. Okay, so this hallway's been completely refurbished. I just want to point that out. Hello. John, hi. I'm just showing my friend Rupert my old apartment building. Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Can we go upstairs? Or no? Do you remember which floor I used to live on?
That's great. The fourth, I believe.
The fourth floor, yeah, exactly. Can we come in and look around? You sure we're not, you know, barging in on anything? No? Okay, good. Hi.
Hi, Madonna.
Oh, hello. How are you? What's your name?
Fabienne.
Fabienne. I love that name.
Fabienne?
We love you.
Oh, sweet. God, this is just exactly like my apartment. I had the same stove, and look, this is totally the exact layout of my apartment. And then my bedroom was over there, and the living room was there, but I actually had all my synthesizers set up in there when I was doing recordings and stuff. So here's the bathroom. How long have you guys lived here?
I lived here for a very long time. I believe you know my father. His name was Manuel Pacheco.
Manuel?
A long, long time ago.
Why, was he was he in this apartment?
Yes, he was.
Oh, he was? Let me
Yeah,
see.
it's a picture of him when he was younger.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah, my dad was
beautiful.
an antique collector. And he...
Yes, so I can't remember. I think I lived here for a couple of years in this building.
Right.
And then, actually, my apartment got robbed. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I do. I used to know Sleep and Manny and Eddie and all those guys.
Johnny.
Yes, Johnny. Yeah, I remember all of
Bad boy Johnny. So in that room, in my apartment, that's where I had all my synthesizers all stacked up, and my 404 drum machine, very important, and my tape player, and that's where I did all of my original recordings. And I used to let all those kids I was telling you about on the streets come in and play music in here. And I guess one of them decided to turn on me.
Wow.
And they broke in when I wasn't here one night, and they took all of my music equipment.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then I had to leave, and I thought they were my friends. It was kind of depressing. I was really pissed off about all those good synths they sold, though, I must admit.
Well, you got a few more along the way.
Yeah, that's true. I made up for it. All right, thanks, you guys.
Thanks a lot.
It was really generous of you.
I want to give you something just in case. I'd love to do some beautiful work for you, you know, in the future. My cat, he loves to sit on his butt a lot, so.
We need a cat for anything. Okay, what's your name again?
Cindy.
Cindy, okay.
It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you, Cindy.
Beautiful.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for letting us come in. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye. She was actually quite beautiful, didn't you think?
Beautiful.
And she had a lovely personality, too. This is the stoop that I kind of got discovered on.
Right.
I was sitting out here with two of the kids that was in the building, and it was a hot summer day, and this photographer comes walking down the street and asked us if he could take our photograph. And we said yeah, and he asked me for my phone number as well. And I gave it to him, and then the next day, like a couple days later, he rang me up and he said that his mother wanted to meet me, and it turns out that his mother was a casting director, and she worked with Martin Scorsese, and she was also really good friends with Barbra Streisand. So that's kind of how I got into the whole acting thing, and that's what led to my audition for Desperately Seeking Susan, and the rest is history. Yeah, so this was the stoop, this is the apartment building, and this is the street where it all happened.
Makes you wonder if you'd been inside, like practicing on your synths when the photographer came by, everything would have been different. Could have been.
You know, I mean, certainly for my movie career, it would have been different.
So weird, that.
Totally, I know. But I mean, there are no accidents. I really believe that.
Yes, I do too.
So, anyway, there's a coffee shop around the corner. And you want to go there and get something to eat? We can talk? Okay.
I never thought Madonna's success was surprising or amazing or a fluke or anything.
I remember the first time that I went on tour with her is when I realized really how famous she was. And it was, you know, it's not something I really ever thought about because I don't really give a shit. She was my friend. Am I allowed to curse?
I remember Madonna back in the day when she used to wear really short shorts and little frilly tops and ride her roller skates down East Street with a boombox on her shoulder.
She had like really wild hair and this porcelain skin, and she had on some kind of like outfit that had many layers and a lot going on.
She moves so many things in fashion. She moves so many things in a lot of things. She's a trendsetter.
Cindy's given us her picture. See?
What's...
And that's a picture of her cat. In case her cat, in case we need a cat for anything. Maybe I'll put her in my next video.
Johnny Cat.
That's really sweet.
So now we're going to
a coffee shop around the corner.
Right.
It's been around for ages, but it's kind of changed. Like, it used to be a bit more rundown and very dinerish, and now it's become like a vegetarian.
Squatters. Well, it's actually still Squatter Central.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, how are you? Can we still order something to eat? Where do you want to sit?
Where do you want to sit? Yeah. I remember seeing an interview with you, like when you did bedtime stories. I think it was when you said it was the most unhappy. Was it bedtime stories you hated making?
The album? Yeah, that was really a hard record for me to make because it was the first time that I'd ever worked with 4 producers on one record.
Right.
And basically, it was just, there was no, I worked with 4 different people and there wasn't any, it was really hard for me to sort of glue the sound together and make one kind of theme happen through the music, sonically and lyrically.
Today is the last day. Oops, I didn't know we couldn't talk about things haven't been the same since you came into my life.
But it seems like now you kind of, you look like you're kind of enjoying the moment and everything much more. Is that true?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I've gotten much better at choosing projects and work to do that I'm actually going to enjoy instead of
thrashing yourself.
Thrashing myself, exactly.
So how did that relate to Ray of Light? Was that the?
I have to say, making that album was the most fun I've ever had in the studio. The most fun.
Really? Why was that, do you think?
Well, first of all, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm a much happier person.
Right.
And just having my daughter come to the studio every day was such an inspiration. So that was a huge difference. And also I was working, William Orbit isn't, he's a really kind of unconventional musician to work with. He works more with like computers and Pro Tools and samples and synths, and I was used to working with classically trained musicians. So it really was a sort of no, throw the rules out the window type of record making for me. And we'd go in there every day, and I always had plans because I'm the organized person in the group, but oftentimes I get to the end of the day and we wouldn't really have accomplished much, but we'd get sort of like, we'd get textures.
Right.
We just get some textures for a song, and in the past that would have freaked me out. Like I have this work ethic, you know, I've got to be really super productive, and I've got to have something done every day, and at the end of the day I want to have a song written.
What's it called? Trance music, do you think?
What's what called?
Well, you know, everything's called
My
a name.
record.
Yeah. What type of music is it?
Well, everyone's calling my record electronica, so I guess that's what it is to a certain extent. But personally, I mean, I think the roots of electronica are is dance music,
right,
house,
sure.
disco, whatever. I mean, that's where it all began. So I don't know why people have such a snooty attitude about, you know, there's a lot of purists who would listen to my record and say, oh, this isn't electronica or trance or anything, you know. You know, what it is it's a pop record, but there is a lot of electronic music in it, and I like that sort of trancey ambient feeling, and I like the sound that William has.
The one thing that I always was angry and upset about was that people never really gave Madonna credit for her insight into music and her sincerity as far as R&B and that vibe is concerned.
I'd been through several years of just basically having the kicked out of me for any number of reasons, and I just thought, you know, what am I doing this for?
I remember Madonna spending time with the kids on this block and giving them attention that they so desperately needed.
To Edwin and Aisha and Madonna, whatever.
But there's guitars on this album as well, aren't there?
Tons of guitar, yeah, and that was a big surprise for me because I had no idea that William Orbit even played guitar.
Right.
He really surprised me with his guitar playing, and there's probably guitar on almost every song on the record.
Vande Gurunam Charanaravinda Sandarshita.
Shanti is such a good song as well. What's that about?
That's actually it's a prayer that I do every morning before I do yoga. It's, you know, before you do Ashtanga yoga, you chant, you say a prayer. And that phrase, Abahu Purushakaram, which is also in To Have and Not to Hold, means sort of like achieving true bliss through pure consciousness. I put that really faintly in the background in a subtle way on To Have and Not to Hold, because To Have and Not to Hold is about longing something that you can't have. And ultimately that phrase is kind of the opposite. So, a little subtle.
Well, also it's like one's about flesh and material, and the other is completely spiritual, right?
Exactly.
So that's really good.
Yeah, which is sort of the journey that I've been on.
Yeah, because you sure weren't chanting before, you know, recording Like a Virgin.
No, I wasn't. Nope. We've come a long way, haven't we?
Do you hate those songs now?
I have to say I do. I mean, I understand they were a really important part of my life and they really sort of stamped something. They were like sort of signposts in my career. But
Yeah, I think the thing that is fantastic about you is every single record you've made has been better and better than the last one, which is unusual. So you think? Most people, it's just...
Yeah, because most people just keep working with the same people and they keep doing the same music, yeah. No, I've got to keep myself
spontaneous,
entertained, so to speak.
Do you envisage yourself like Mick Jagger, aged 50, stomping around Madison Square Garden?
I do not.
Cut to 25 years time, Madonna!
No, I mean, I don't think so.
So is there a stop date? Do you ever think about that in your head? Do you think like...
No, I don't think there's a stop date, but I don't envision myself making pop records and videos when I'm 50 years old. I mean, I feel like I'm always going to make music, no matter what. But I think it's just going to, the way I perform it is going to take another shape. And, you know, I can always do Holiday Inns.
Probably what you'll do is segue more
into acting. Yeah, exactly. Which is what I'm sort of doing right now, because I'm doing shows here and there to promote the album, but I'm really not going to go on some huge mega tour. No, I want to make movies.
That's understandable, driving so hard when you're 18 to 26. Most people kind of ease off after that. They try and maintain what they've got in our businesses.
Yeah.
You, just driving.
Yeah.
That bitch to the end of the road.
Yeah, well,
What is that in you, though? And also...
I mean, part of it is I'd been through several years of just basically having the shit kicked out of me for any number of reasons, and I just thought, you know, what am I doing this for? It's so much work. And I felt completely misunderstood and not appreciated and all of that. And I did reach an all-time low, but then I went off to make Evita. And it kind of gave me time off from being myself in a way. You know what I mean? Which was great and so liberating, because I was not singing my music, I was singing someone else's music. I was, you know, living vicariously through another icon. And in a way, it was a sense of freedom for me.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance.
And you were pregnant.
Well, yeah, and then I got pregnant, and then, you know, and then having a baby gave me another sort of chunk of time to kind of go away and regroup, really, and kind of rejuvenate myself. And then, of course, I had the baby, and that was the ultimate sort of rebirth moment for me, because suddenly I looked at life with a new pair of eyes, and suddenly I appreciated life in a way that I never had before.
Never forget who you are, little star.
I think you're a very sweet mother.
Really?
Mm.
Thanks.
You know, some people aren't very good mothers.
Oh.
You don't look very good with her because you're sweet with your daughter.
Well, I guess we all sort of live in fear, like, are we good mothers, you know, are we doing the right thing?
But also, I suppose, the one good thing about being not 20 when you're a mother is that it's like more of a choice thing, isn't it, I suppose?
Absolutely. I mean, I absolutely was ready to have a baby when I had one.
Made of flesh and bones.
Okay, so shall we go?
Let's go.
All right. Now that we've stuffed ourselves. Bye-bye. That's a great book, by the way. Have you read that?
Yes, I have.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Bye.
Madonna. I want my name Edwin.
Edwin.
E-D-W-I-N.
Rupert, are you going to kiss me goodbye? Cooties.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It's lovely chatting with you. Mwah. Mwah. Bye. I love you all.
It was the 80s. It was New York. It was the art scene. It was graffiti.
In those days, art and music were really sort of like joined at the hip.
We would hang with like Warhol and Keith Haring and Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Introduced her to Mick Jagger. You know, I don't even remember.
Madonna seemed to bridge those people to the sort of pop world.
Shine